am, in all honesty, beyond distraught.
It feels like an insult.
The price is too high.
$300 a booster box.
5 cents worth of cardboard.
Desirable cards are desirable cards.
People will still buy it.
Stop telling people they're too poor to play your game.
Hey folks, another day, another disaster from Wizards of the Coast. The outcry this time seems to be sticking a little more than it usually does. Though the bloodthirsty mob often calls for blood, this time there's a real righteousness with the way they speak. Now, you know our channel, we don't have to share our bias because this video will be a completely objective framing of the facts and nothing but. But we have, of course, framed the facts in a way that is more likely to have you interpret them the way that we would like you to. But so the controversy is ostensibly about the price of the new Double Masters set. Though of course that's not even half the story. What really has the community up in arms is radiant beam of sunshine Mark Rosewater, the lead designer of both Magic the Gathering and Our Hearts, has taken to answering some questions on Twitter. Here are those tweets. If you want a blow-by-blow, you can watch the videos by President of Antifa,
I describe myself as a bit of a lefty,
Pleasant Kenobi, and postmodern neo-Marxist intellectual elitist The Professor.
This is the Tolarian Community College Manifesto. I believe Magic the Gathering is a game.
Who both broadly condemned the behavior and dissected in much more detail. But no, what we're interested in here is the apparent disconnect. Whilst Reddit polemic after polemic describes how this product has priced them out of the game, convinced them that Magic is not for them, or driven them to quit it entirely, there is a smaller but solid contingent of people who question the former group's right to complain. Hasbro is the business. They need to make money. And what does it matter to you that you can't afford this product? You can't afford a lot of things. Do you hate all those things too? So, what gives here? We have a group absolutely wounded by Mark Rosewater's statements that not every product his company makes is going to be accessible to each Magic player, and we have another group obsessed with invalidating the hurt feelings of that first group. Does it seem to you that these people live in different worlds? Are they really responding to the same posts? Now, regular fans of my channel, stay with me here, because this is where we broach our usual topic. According to linguistic pragmatist J.L. Austin, these people really might be living in different worlds. J.L. Austin talks about modes of communication he calls speech acts. Speech act theory is broad, but what's relevant to our interests here in this video is the idea that what you're saying and what you're saying can be very different things. Imagine John Reese using his shotgun to destroy the evil robots who've been hunting you. He says, "Come with me if you want to live." You feel like your nightmare might finally be over. You've got a friend in this. But imagine now John Reese using his shotgun to end the lives of your family in your home that he's just invaded. He points the gun at you and says, "Come with me if you want to live." You understand, right? Same words, different connotation. Same speech, different speech acts. So when Rosewater defends and explains the price of Double Masters, he acts not just as a human being, but also as a facet of the company. When players who've been concerned by the rising price of Magic see this reprint product, and I do remind you,
there's a lot we can't put into Standard. There's a lot of powerful cards from the last few years of sets that we just don't want to reprint in Standard legal sets. So we wanted a way to get those out there. So we created a new booster release that's called Modern Masters.
They see Rosewater refer to the product, which used to help prevent rising prices, but is now being used to do something entirely differently. And they see him say that they are not the target audience for the product that used to be for them. And what they really hear is, "We have discontinued our attempts at keeping this game reasonably priced. From now on, we exist to extract wealth from those willing to pay." And can you blame them exactly? Those who are determined, for whatever reason, to misunderstand the outcry can point at Mark's exact words, or the fact that this product isn't taking anything away from anyone. But that misses the point to some degree. That looks only at speech, and not the speech act. If you're mainly a Magic fan, we're basically done here. Mark hasn't read J.L. Austin, he doesn't know about pragmatics, he's a smart guy, but this isn't his area of expertise. He's not a PR person, he's supposed to be a designer. Most humans worry about speech, and few worry about speech acts. So yeah, if you're not a tabletop RPG player, you can go, that's it. People are talking past each other because they're confusing speech and speech act. If you're one of our regular subscribers, hopefully you found that example a useful introduction, but we're going to get more specific. As a DM, or GM, or storyteller, or whatever, we can often forget the role our speech acts have to play. As the person in charge of the fiction, you set the tone. When your players are joking and laughing, it can be tempting to crack a joke yourself. But remember, the more you joke with your players, the more you lean into not just the speech of making them laugh, but the speech act of communicating to them that they should be in a joking mood and maybe not taking this all that seriously. During downtime or in fluff moments, that can be what you want. it might not be what you want in a climactic boss battle. Take, for instance, an example from Matt Colville fan and physicist by right of birth, Kevin Oyen Rolliver Paros Trussell. When your players ask what the name of a town guard is, and you can't think of one, you'll have to use your speech to say, gee, I don't know. But your speech act can be a lot more important. If you tell your players, with your body language or with your words, who cares, that's a bad question, she's just a guard. You communicate to your players not just that you don't know, but also that you don't care and they shouldn't care either. But if you say, oh, gee, I forget, I have it here somewhere, I'll tell you when I remember, you communicate to your players that no question that they ask is stupid, and you're not going to admonish them for being interested in your world. Maybe you're inconvinced by all this rambling talk. You need an example. Look at the wonderful Telemares, Twitter in the description. This whole video was really inspired partly by the Rosewater stuff, and partly by her posting a handout she made for her players on our Discord, which you should definitely join, by the way. Now, Telemares wanted a document the players could refer to remember the names of the many attendees at her Ravnica ball. Wait a minute, that's Mark Rosewater. Mark Rosewater. Mark R.O.'s. Oh my god, she smuggled the designer of the game into the campaign with just the subtlest name Okay, no, that's getting old. Anyhow, the document is a fine reference document, and that's its speech, but think of its purpose as a speech act. It communicates to the players that their DM cares. If you were a new player, afraid to overcommit in case your friends laughed at you, wouldn't this document ease that fear? Especially if your DM printed it out, like Telemares did, and gave it to your players. The fictional world slips from simulacrum to reality even if just a little bit. And that's why handouts like this are so worthwhile. Telemares put this together out of a background she found by googling fancy paper and manipulating the rest of the images together in a simple editing software. But that little effort goes a long way. It gives the players the permission to care freely about the world, and that's really priceless. As a last example of the power of speech acts, look at a silly decision we've made in this video. Pleasant Kenobi isn't the president of Antifa. Antifa is an anarcho-monarchy, you geese. Mark Rosewater is not indeed called Mark Reginald Rosewater. By getting their names wrong in silly and trivial ways, we're communicating to the viewer that the video isn't really about the controversy in a serious way, and hopefully we're avoiding our comment section turning into a place for them to battle it out and argue how much they should spend on card games. You should spend $0 on card games. You should be putting all that money as donations into our PayPal. In less than 2 weeks, we lose access to our editing computer, and after that, the future is Blake. Save us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only.
Hey Mark, I need a little help here. I'm probably talking to myself here. But hey Mark, I've gotta ask, did you really mean the words that you put up on Tumblr? Not for us. Hey Mark, hey Mark. Hey Mark, I'm tired of trying to make all these excuses. This game is fucking useless if we can't afford to play. Everyday prices are climbing, our perceptions aren't aligning. The game bores us when our formats aren't for us. Cause Hasbro's making money, Hasbro's happy hunting whales. They don't mind if we're priced out, if they get a decent sale. Ignored it for a while, but this is just beyond the pale. I can't believe the mess that you've become.